Paving this shit, crank.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sheriff Margaret Mims, Fresno County, California. Thank you for joining us. I will introduce our other speakers today. We have Chief Drew Bessinger from the Fresno Airport Police. He will be speaking after me. And then Homeland Security ASAC Jeff Brannigan. Jeff will be speaking next, but also present on the stage is AUSA Brian Enos. This particular case is extremely disturbing, very far reaching across our nation. Denver law enforcement officials have arrested 40-year-old Nathan Daniel Larson of Catlett, Virginia. Larson is currently in the Denver County Jail facing a misdemeanor charge of harboring a minor. However, he is also facing felony charges in Fresno County for kidnapping, child abduction, soliciting child pornography from a minor, and meeting a child for the intention of sex. Larson is scheduled to have a court hearing in Denver on December 24th. During this time, an extradition request will be made to transport Larson to the Fresno County Jail. On the morning of Monday, December 14th, the Fresno County Sheriff's Office and the Fresno Police Department, and Lieutenant Ron Hughes is joining me here today, received a report of a missing 12-year-old Fresno girl. During the early portion of the investigation, detectives developed information that the girl may have been coerced into running away with an older man. A man she had met through social media in mid-October. The information pointed to the girl possibly heading to Fresno Yosemite International Airport to catch a cross-country flight to Virginia to be with this man. Due to the nature of the circumstances of this case, detectives with the Central California Internet Crimes Against Children, or ICAC task force, took over the investigation. Lieutenant Brandon Purcell, who commands that unit, is here. Detectives received assistance from members of the Fresno Airport Police and Homeland Security Investigations, who revealed a man later identified to be Nathan Larson was seen with a young girl, and the two boarded a plane bound for Washington, D.C. This flight was scheduled to have a layover in Denver, so detectives contacted law enforcement authorities there and asked that they check the airport for Larson and the child. A Denver police officer assigned to the local FBI task force located Larson and arrested him. Agents rescued the girl, who was uninjured, and made arrangements to have her reunited with her family in Fresno. She was later reunited with her family Monday night. Once in custody, detectives learned more about how the abduction took place. Larson flew to Fresno from Virginia and then traveled to the girl's home. He persuaded her to sneak out of her house at around 2 a.m. He used a rideshare company to pick her up, and together they rode to the Fresno airport. Larson made her wear a long hair wig to alter her appearance and make her look older. He also told her to act as though she was disabled and unable to speak, to ensure she would not converse with anyone at the airport while making their way onto the airplane. On December 17th, Fauquier County, Virginia Sheriff's Detective agents with Homeland Security as well, and the Northern Virginia District of Columbia Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force seized electronic devices while executing a search warrant at Larson's home located in the 9200 block of Prospect Avenue in Catlett, Virginia. While at the house, Larson's father, a 69-year-old Arthur Larson, assaulted an HSI agent. He was arrested for assault and battery and later released from jail after posting bond. During the investigation, detectives uncovered Nathan Larson has a deeply disturbing background. He is a white supremacist and a well known advocate for pedophilia. This is a man who runs a website which encourages the raping of children and sharing of naked photos and video of children being raped. We are not identifying his website at this time, but he used multiple social media platforms to communicate with our victim from Fresno. During the past 2 months, Larson was able to convince the Fresno girl through manipulation and grooming to send him pornographic images of herself. In 2017, Larson ran for political office as an independent, seeking to become a member of the Virginia House of Delegates representing District 31. He went on to lose that race. Part of his platform was to change the laws to allow for incestual relationships and sex with minors. In December 2008, while living in Boulder, Colorado, Larson sent a detailed email to the U.S. Secret Service threatening to kill the President of the United States. At the time, George Bush was the outgoing president and Barack Obama was the incoming president. Larson pled guilty in federal court. In October of 2009, he was sentenced to 16 months in a federal prison and wound up serving 14 months. Due to the sophisticated nature of how Larson groomed this Fresno girl, detectives believe he has victimized other children in the past that may have gone unreported to law enforcement. The interagency cooperation to save this little girl cannot be underestimated. Within a few hours of her being reported missing, when her family discovered her gone in the morning, resulted in all of us working together to save this little girl from unimaginable assaults. My thanks to the other agencies involved for being involved and for being great crime fighting partners. It's obvious that Larson had the ability to be in contact with children across the nation and the willingness and the means to travel to abduct them. We believe that there are other victims out there. Law enforcement would like to remind the public also to be vigilant when it comes to visiting websites and social media outlets. Parents, monitor your children's internet and social media use. Be aware of the software apps that they're using. Parents should keep the dialogue open with your children in order to build trust. Online predators often pretend to be someone else in order to lure their victims in and take advantage of them. Teach children to be wary of the person on the other end of that chat line. Many times, their people are not who they say they are. And believe me, they can be very, very charming. Report any suspicious behavior right away to law enforcement or file a cyber tip through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That's where we get a lot of our tips. I want to remind everybody about the Internet Crime Against Children's Task Force. It's 64 federal, state, and local enforcement agencies spread through 9 counties in the Central Valley. It is dedicated to protecting children online, investigating crimes committed against children, which are facilitated by the internet and computer usage. Now, before I turn it over to Chief Bessinger, I want to go over a statement by our local district attorney, Lisa Smitkamp. They were unable to be here today. However, they have filed 5 felony counts against Nathan Daniel Larson, and his current exposure, if convicted, is life in state prison with the possibility of parole. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Bessinger.
Thanks, Sheriff Mins. On Monday, the Fresno Airport Police Department was contacted by a sex crimes investigator from the Fresno Police Department and requesting that we assist them in this case. We were able to determine that the male and the 12-year-old girl had flown from Fresno to Denver and were eventually going to be going to Virginia. We were able to determine that the aircraft had landed. We contacted the Denver Airport Police and asked them to contact and detain the suspect in this case, which they were able to do. We have since furnished video evidence to the other law enforcement agencies showing their contact inside our airport. We were very proud that we were able to play a role in this. The cooperative effort of all of our law enforcement agencies truly saved this child's life. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Brannigan. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge for Homeland Security Investigations in the Central Valley. Every day, HSI agents and analysts work around the clock and around the world to investigate crimes involving the exploitation of children. This case is a true example of the value of local and federal cooperation in matters affecting public safety. Earlier this week, HSI agents in Fresno, working with their colleagues at the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force and the Fresno Airport Police, worked to identify the suspect in this investigation and to coordinate with Denver area law enforcement for his apprehension and the rescue of this victim. It is absolutely incumbent upon us as law enforcement officials to work together on cases like this. In addition, HSI agents in Northern Virginia and their ICAC partners there are working with the Fauquier County Sheriff's Office on other aspects of this ongoing investigation. I'd like to thank Sheriff Mims, Chief Hall, and the women and men of the ICAC task force here in Fresno for their continued and close partnership in the investigation of these heinous crimes. Thank you.
Thank you, ASEC Brannigan. Remember, this all started as a result of a missing 12-year-old reported to the Sheriff's Office and the City of Fresno Police Department. And again, within just a few hours, that little girl was back home and safe with her family. As a result of this investigation, we have a family who's going to be celebrating the holidays, and they won't have an empty chair. They've got their little girl back with them. We want to make sure there are other families that stay intact and whole by catching these predators, and we need the public's help. So with that, are there any questions?
What led to, I mean, I know that this guy had a website, but how did you guys find out that